What if a flight attendant, blinded by prejudice, forced a black CEO family out of first class, oblivious to the fact that they owned the airline only for their silent strike to unleash a reckoning that shook the skies? Welcome to the Shareholder's Silent Strike, a story that'll seize your heart and ignite your sense of justice with a confrontation so electrifying it'll leave you stunned. Picture this, a bustling Atlanta International Airport, where a first-class cabin becomes a stage for bias and one family's composure in the face of humiliation sparks a viral storm that threatens an empire. Buckle up. This tale of principal power and jaw-dropping accountability is about to take flight in a cabin where truth meets prejudice head-on. Atlanta International Airport was a pulsing artery of human movement, its vast concourses alive with the hum of announcements, the clatter of suitcase wheels, and the hurried footsteps of travelers weaving through a sea of neon signs and coffee kiosks. The air carried the mingled scents of jet fuel, fast food, and perfume, a sensory overload that defined the morning rush where business suits jostled with backpackers and families clutched boarding passes like lifelines. Terminal C's Priority Gate was a quieter enclave, its sleek counters and velvet ropes a haven for first-class passengers where the privileged moved with an air of entitlement, their carry-ons gliding effortlessly, their glances fleeting but expectant. Beyond the glass walls, planes taxied under a gray sky, their engines a low roar. But inside the gate was a microcosm of status where every nod and gesture affirmed hierarchy, and the promise of luxury awaited those who could afford it. Today, that promise was about to be tested, and a first-class cabin would become a battleground where prejudice met power, igniting a storm that would ripple far beyond the tarmac. James Ellison strode through the terminal, his charcoal gray suit tailored to his lean, 48-year-old frame, his polished shoes clicking softly on the stone floor, his presence commanding without effort. A black man with close-cropped hair flecked with silver and eyes that held the sharp clarity of a strategist. James was the CEO of Ellison Ventures, a conglomerate with stakes in tech, real estate, and aviation, including a controlling share in Atlantic Skies, the airline operating this flight. His calm confidence was a quiet force honed by years of navigating boardrooms and biases. His every move deliberate, his gaze missing nothing. The hurried glance of a gate agent, the smug nod of a waiting passenger, the faint buzz of a boarding call. Beside him walked his wife, Alicia Ellison, 45, her navy blazer and silk scarf, a study in elegance, her poised demeanor masking a fierce intellect, her dark eyes warm but vigilant as she guided their 6-year-old daughter Zoe, who clutched a stuffed pilot bear, her braided pigtails bouncing with each excited step. The Ellisons were a picture of understated power. Their lack of flash, no bodyguards, no ostentatious jewelry, belied by an aura that turned heads their steps, a silent symphony of grace and purpose as they approached the priority gate for Flight 473 to New York. The first-class cabin of the Boeing 787 was a cocoon of luxury, its plush leather seats and polished wood accents a stark contrast to the cramped economy rows beyond the curtain. Soft lighting bathed the space where passengers sipped pre-flight champagne, their laptops opened their conversations, a low hum of deals and destinations. Overhead bins clicked shut, their compartments neatly packed, while the faint hum of the plane's systems underscored the promise of a seamless journey. Passengers in tailored suits and designer dresses settled in their privilege, given their glances fleeting but expectant, accustomed to deference. At the front, Laura Mitchell, the lead flight attendant with 18 years of service, stood poised, her navy uniform crisp, her blonde hair pulled into a tight bun, her clipboard, a scepter of authority. Known for her iron discipline and zero tolerance for errors, Laura's pale blue eyes scanned the cabin with a practiced efficiency, her smile professional but thin, her demeanor a blend of control and condescension. She greeted each passenger with a nod, offering hot towels and drink menus, her routine a well-oiled machine until her gaze landed on the Ellisons and her face stiffened, a subtle shift that betrayed the bias brewing beneath her polished exterior. James led his family to seats 2A, 2B, and 2C, the front left row of first class. Their boarding passes scanned and confirmed at the gate their presence as natural as the cabin's opulence. Zoe giggled, her pilot bear tucked under her arm, her eyes wide at the seat's control panel, whispering, "Daddy, it's like a spaceship." Alicia smiled, adjusting Zoe's pigtails, her navy blazer catching the light as she stowed a small backpack, her movements graceful, precise. James placed their carry-ons in the overhead bin, his charcoal suit creasing slightly, his nod to a nearby passenger. A middle-aged woman in a cashmere coat, polite but brief. The Ellisons settled in their ease, a testament to countless first-class flights, their demeanor unassuming, yet magnetic, a family accustomed to power but grounded in humility. Yet Laura, watching from the galley, saw none of this. Her eyes narrowed, her clipboard gripped tighter, her thoughts racing. They don't look like first-class passengers. The bias was instant, unspoken, but palpable. Her lips pressing into a thin line as she scrutinized James's every move, her prejudice painting a narrative that ignored the truth of their tickets, their status, their right to be there. Laura's hesitation was fleeting, her discipline kicking in as she straightened her uniform, her bun taut, her steps purposeful, as she approached the Ellisons, her clipboard a shield of false authority. Her smile was forced, a brittle mask that didn't reach her eyes, her voice carrying a clipped edge. "Excuse me," she said, her tone authoritative but cold. "I need to verify your tickets." James, buckling Zoe's seatbelt, looked up, his warm eyes meeting Laura's, his calm unshaken, his suit a quiet emblem of power. "Of course," he said, his voice smooth, pulling 3 e-tickets from his wallet, their barcodes pristine, their details unmistakable. "We're in 2A, 2B, and 2C, correct seats." Alicia's gaze flicked to Laura, her dark eyes hardening, sensing the undercurrent, her hand resting on Zoe's shoulder. Her silence a shield, Laura took the tickets, her fingers stiff, her eyes scanning them with exaggerated scrutiny, cross-checking names, flight numbers, and seats as if searching for a flaw. Her bias blinding her to the obvious. They were valid, paid with a corporate black card booked weeks in advance. The cabin's hum faded, passengers glancing over their champagne glasses, paused, sensing tension. Mr. Hargrove, a wealthy retiree in a tailored suit, leaned toward his wife, their pearl necklace and cufflinks glinting, whispering, "Probably a mix-up," his smug tone endorsing Laura's suspicion. Mrs. Hargrove, nodding her elitist bias a quiet jab. Lila Nguyen, a 30-year-old tech consultant in 3C, paused her laptop, her headphones slipping off her phone in hand, her instincts honed by years of witnessing subtle slights, her thumb hovering over the record button. Laura's face tightened, her voice dropping her clipboard, a prop of false certainty. "I apologize, but I need to confirm this with ground control," she said, her words a verdict. Her gaze avoiding James's. "Please remain seated. I'll be back." No explanation, no courtesy, just a brisk turn, her heels clicking as she retreated to the galley. Her bias a silent command to correct what she deemed a mistake. James watched her go, his warm eyes narrowing, his calm unshaken, but his resolve hardening, his strategist's mind recognizing the pattern, not a procedural check, but a judgment rooted in race. Alicia's voice was low, her navy blazer, a quiet armor. "She's targeting us," she whispered, her hand squeezing Zoe's, her eyes blazing. James's faint smile was steely, his hand resting on hers. "Let her," he said, his voice soft but resolute. "She has no idea who she's dealing with." Zoe, sensing the shift, clutched, her pilot bear whispering, "Why's she mad?" Mommy Alicia's smile was forced, her voice gentle. "She's confused, sweetie," she said, her gaze never leaving James, her trust in him absolute. The cabin stirred, passengers whispering, the woman in the cashmere coat muttering, "They seem perfectly fine." Her husband nodding, their unease growing. Lila's thumb pressing record her video, uploading with the caption, "Flight attendant targets black family in first class. Wrong move in the galley." Laura gripped the phone, her voice sharp as she dialed ground control, her bun taut, her clipboard trembling. "I've got a family in a first class. Ellison seats 2A, 2B, 2C. She said, her tone clipped. "Tickets seem valid, but I need confirmation, Kevin." The ground agent checked the system, his response swift. "Ellison James booked 30 days ago. Black Amex, no flags, shareholder status, confirmed." He said, his voice puzzled. "Is there a problem?" Laura hesitated, her pale blue eyes darting, her bias overriding reason. "Just double-checking," she said, hanging up her knuckles, white, her mind racing. "No way. They're first class. Something's off." The truth was clear. Valid tickets, elite status. But her prejudice refused to yield, her ego, clinging to a narrative that placed the Ellisons outside the realm of privilege. Her discomfort not in their presence, but in her own misjudgment. Laura stood frozen, the galley's fluorescent lights casting a harsh glow. Her clipboard, a futile shield as she battled reason and bias, her instinct to maintain control. Outweighing the facts, she straightened her uniform, a mask of authority, her decision made not to apologize but to double down her prejudice. a climber slipping yet clinging to a crumbling ledge. She returned to the cabin, her steps brisk, her smile gone, her voice cold. "Mr. Ellison, there's an error in the booking system," she said, her clipboard gripped tightly, her eyes avoiding his to avoid confusion. "I need your family to move to economy class temporarily while we verify again." The lie was blatant, her tone surgical, her bias, a command disguised as protocol, the cabin gasping passengers shifting their whispers, a chorus of disbelief. James's warm eyes locked onto Laura's. His charcoal suit, a quiet storm, his voice low but piercing. "An error," he said, his tone calm but cutting. "Our tickets were verified by ground control. Seats 2A, 2B, 2C. Correct, names paid in full." "What's the issue?" Laura's face flushed, her clipboard trembling, her voice faltering. "It's protocol," she said, her excuse. Thin, her gaze darting to the galley seeking escape. Alicia's voice was sharp, her navy blazer a shield. "Protocol doesn't target families for no reason." She set her hand on Zoe's, her eyes blazing. "Explain the error now." The cabin fell silent, passengers leaning forward. The woman in the cashmere coat whispering, "This is wrong." Her husband, nodding, Lila's video hitting 10,000 views. Gatch skies, bias trending, comments raging. "She's lying, and they're first class." Laura's resolve cracked, her voice rising her clipboard, a futile prop. "I'm following procedure," she said, her pale blue eyes avoiding James, her bias a trap she couldn't escape. James stood, his 6'2" frame commanding his suit, creasing his voice steady but cold. "You're not following procedure. You're following prejudice," he said, his words a guillotine, his warm eyes unyielding. "You doubted us the moment we boarded, not because of our tickets, but because of our skin. Admit it, or this gets worse." The cabin gasped, passengers filming the man in 3A muttering, "He's right," his laptop, forgotten Lila's video, hitting 50,000 views. Comments a global chorus. "Call her out, and Ellison's a boss." Laura's face paled, her clipboard slipping, her voice trembling. "I need you to move now," she said, her authority crumbling. Her bias exposed, James's faint smile was icy, his hand reaching for his phone, his movements deliberate, his strategist's mind a chessboard. "You've made a mistake," he said, dialing a number, his voice low but resonant. "Proceed with the protocol," he said into the phone, hanging up, his warm eyes locking onto Laura's. His calm, a storm's prelude. The cabin's tension spiked, passengers whispering, the woman in the cashmere coat filming Lila's video, hitting 100,000 views. Shareholder strike, trending comments, demanding justice. "Who is he?" "And she's finished." The intercom chimed a junior attendant, Nora Patel, stepping forward, her navy uniform. Crisp, her voice urgent. "Laura, operations needs you urgent," she said, her dark eyes flicking to James, her unease clear. Laura retreated, her heels clicking her clipboard, a discarded shield, her face ashen as she entered the galley, the captain's voice crackling. "Shareholder alert. Marcus Ellison, 2A executive override. Cease all actions." The cabin stirred, passengers murmuring, the man in 3A whispering, "He's big time," his tie loosened. Lila's video hitting 200,000 views, comments a global roar. "He owns the airline," and Laura's toast. James sat, his charcoal suit, a quiet storm, his hand on Zoe's, his voice soft. "We're moving, Zoe," he said, his warm eyes steady, his strategist's mind 3 steps ahead. Alicia's gaze was fierce, her navy blazer a quiet defiance. "Why, James?" she whispered, her hand squeezing his. "Because they need to see the truth," he said, his faint smile resolute. The Ellisons gathered their belongings, Zoe clutching her pilot bear, her pigtails bouncing, her voice small. "Are we in trouble, Daddy?" James knelt, his warm eyes gentle. "No, sweetheart," he said, kissing her forehead. "We're teaching a lesson." The cabin watched, passengers silent, the woman in the cashmere coat whispering, "This is shameful." Her husband filming Lila's video hitting 500,000 views. Sky's bias, a global firestorm, comments raging. "They're humiliating them. And Ellison's a titan." Laura pointed to economy seats, middle row. No leg room, no luxury. Her voice cold. "Here," she said, turning away, her heels, a retreat from accountability. Her bias, a fatal misstep. James led his family, his suit, a quiet rebellion. Alicia's blazer, a shield. Zoe's bear, a symbol of innocence amid injustice. The economy cabin stirred, passengers glancing over, some whispering, others lowering their eyes, the weight of the moment palpable. James sat, helping Zoe settle, his phone open, typing a report, his strategist's mind a weapon, his silence louder than any protest. Alicia's voice was low, her eyes blazing. "You're letting them win," she whispered, her hand on Zoe's. James's faint smile was steely, his warm eyes steady. "They're not winning, they're exposing themselves," he said, his phone buzzing with a text from the CEO. "Protocol activated. Awaiting your orders." The cabin's hum returned, passengers buckling in the plane taxiing, but the tension lingered, a silent storm brewing. Nora approached Laura in the galley, her Navy uniform. "A quiet alliance," her voice low. "You messed up," she said, her dark eyes firm. "He's a shareholder, major one." Laura's face paled, her clipboard. "Forgotten," her voice trembling. "I didn't know." She stammered, her bun loosening her authority. Crumbling. Lila's video hit 1 million views. Passengers sharing clips, comments demanding reform. "Fire her and Ellison's, taking them down." The captain's voice crackled. "Flight 473, prepare for takeoff." But the real ascent was James's silent strike, his composure a weapon that had grounded Laura's prejudice and set a corporate earthquake in motion, its shockwaves poised to reshape an airline and inspire a world watching in awe. The first-class cabin of Atlantic Skies, flight at 473 to New York, had transformed from a haven of luxury into a crucible of reckoning. Its plush, leather seats, and polished wood accents now a backdrop for the seismic fallout of James Ellison's silent strike. Moments ago, James, a 48-year-old black CEO and major shareholder of the airline, had been unjustly forced out of first class with his wife Alicia and their 6-year-old daughter Zoe by flight attendant Laura Mitchell, whose prejudiced insistence on a non-existent booking error exposed a deep-seated bias. James's calm activation of a corporate protocol via a single phone call had shifted the power dynamic, and Lila Nguyen's viral video capturing Laura's cold move to economy class had exploded to 2 million views with hashtags #skies, bias, #shareholder strike, and #Ellison. Justice trending globally, turning the cabin into a symbol of truth over prejudice. James sat in a cramped economy seat, his charcoal gray suit a quiet rebellion, his warm brown eyes steady as he typed on his phone, his strategist's mind orchestrating a corporate storm. Alicia, her navy blazer, a shield, held Zoe's hand, her dark eyes fierce but composed while Zoe clutched her pilot bear, her pigtails still her innocence. A stark contrast to the injustice. Lila, the 30-year-old tech consultant in first class, monitored her videos spread, her phone buzzing, her headphones off, her role as witness. Pivotal. Nora Patel, the junior flight attendant, moved cautiously, her Navy uniform a quiet alliance, her dark eyes uneasy as she sensed the brewing crisis. Mr. and Mrs. Hargrove, the elitist passengers, had retreated to their seats, their pearl necklace and tailored suit dimmed by shame, their earlier smugness a lesson learned. The cabin was no longer just a flight, it was a courtroom, and James's silent strike was delivering a verdict that would shake Atlantic Skies to its core. The plane soared at 30,000 feet, in its engines a steady hum, but the cabin's atmosphere crackled with unspoken tension. Passengers in first class whispering their champagne, untouched their glances, darting to the economy curtain where the Ellisons sat, a family displaced yet unbroken. Lila's video hit 3 million views, comments flooding in. "Ellison owns the airline and Laura's career's over." Social media erupted. Shareholder strike, a global firestorm with travelers sharing stories of biased service. Ignore complaints, selective scrutiny echoing the Ellisons' ordeal. Their voices, a chorus inspired by James's composure. News alerts flashed. Atlantic Skies shareholder humiliated in first class, sparks outrage, while influencers amplified the clip, turning James's stand into a rallying cry for accountability. The economy cabin buzz, passengers murmuring, some filming, the Ellisons, others lowering their eyes, the weight of the moment palpable. The air conditioning, a faint drone against the storm brewing within. James typed on his phone, his charcoal suit creased, but his resolve iron, his warm eyes steady as he drafted a formal complaint to the Atlantic Skies Board. His words precise, his demands clear. Full investigation policy, overhaul, mandatory bias training, public apology. Alicia's voice was low, her navy blazer a quiet defiance. "You're letting them bury this," she whispered. Her hand on Zoe's, her eyes blazing. James's faint smile was steely, his gaze unwavering. "They're not burying anything," he said, his voice soft but resolute. "They're digging their own grave." Zoe, clutching her pilot bear, whispered, "Are we going back?" "Daddy," James knelt, his warm eyes gentle. Soon, sweetheart, he said, kissing her forehead. We're teaching them something important. The economy passengers stirred, a retiree muttering, "They don't belong here," his sympathy, a quiet nod. A young woman filming Lila's video, hitting 4 million views. Comments a global roar. Ellison's taking them down and justice for Zoe. In the galley, Laura stood frozen. Her navy uniform a hollow relic, her blonde bun loosening her clipboard, discarded her pale blue eyes wide with panic as Nora relayed the captain's orders. Cease all actions, shareholder protocol activated. Laura's voice trembled, her hands shaking. "I didn't know he was a shareholder," she stammered, her face ashen, her bias a trap. She couldn't escape. Nora's dark eyes were firm, her navy uniform a quiet rebuke. "You didn't need to know," she said, her voice low but sharp. "You judge them by their skin, not their tickets. That's the problem." Laura's knees buckled, her clipboard clattering, her authority crumbling, her prejudice exposed. The intercom chimed. Captain Daniel Rivers' voice tense. "Crew prepare for internal review upon landing. No further actions without my orders." The cabin gasped, passengers whispering, the woman in the cashmere coat muttering, "She's in trouble." Her husband filming Lila's video, hitting 5 million views. Skies. Bias, a global firestorm, comments demanding reform fire. Laura Nora slipped into economy, her navy uniform a quiet alliance, her voice low as she approached James. "Mr. Ellison, the captain's been notified," she said, her dark eyes earnest. "Operations is on it, CBO's involved." James's nod was faint, his charcoal suit a quiet storm, his warm eyes steady. "Thank you, Nora," he said, his voice calm but resolute. "Ensure the footage is preserved, and all of it." Nora's nod was firm, her role as ally pivotal, her tablet buzzing with updates, her loyalty to justice a spark in the storm. Alicia's gaze softened, her navy blazer a shield, her voice soft. "You're trusting her," she whispered, her hand on Zoe's. James's faint smile was confident, his strategist's mind 3 steps ahead. "She sees the truth," he said, his phone buzzing with a text from CEO Robert Langston, "Protocol active, awaiting your demands." The first-class cabin stirred, passengers murmuring their privilege tainted by the injustice. The man in 3A whispering, "He's a big shot." His laptop closed, the woman in the cashmere coat filming, her voice low. "This is systemic," she muttered. Her husband nodding their unease, a quiet verdict. Mr. Hargrove approached Nora, his tailored suit creased, his voice low. "We were wrong," he said, his earlier smirk gone, his pearl-necklaced wife whispering, "We didn't know their elitist bias." A humbled confession. Nora's dark eyes were firm, her voice sharp. "You saw and said nothing," she said, her navy uniform a quiet rebuke. "Support starts with accountability." The Hargroves retreated, their influence dimmed their apology. A small atonement. Lila's video hitting 6 million views, comments. A global chorus. Ellison's exposing them. And no more bias. In the cockpit, Captain Rivers received an executive call, his face tense as Robert Langston's voice crackled. "Marcus Ellison's a primary shareholder. Strategic board, suspend the attendant, preserve all footage, report to me on landing." Rivers's jaw clenched, his voice steady. "Understood, sir," he said, his headset buzzing, his mind racing. "This is a crisis." He activated the intercom, his voice clipped. "Crew. Laura Mitchell is relieved of duty. Effective immediately." Nora assumed lead. The cabin gasped, passengers filming, the woman in the cashmere coat whispering, "They're acting fast," her husband nodding. Lila's video hitting 7 million views. Shareholder strike. A global movement, comments demanding justice. Laura's out and Ellison's running the show. Laura in the galley collapsed into a seat, her navy uniform a relic, her blonde bun unraveling, her pale blue eyes flooded with panic. Her clipboard forgotten. "I didn't mean it," she whispered, her voice breaking, her bias. A fatal misstep, now costing her career. Nora entered her navy uniform, a quiet authority, her voice firm. "You're done for this flight," she said, her dark eyes unyielding. "Stay here, operations will handle you on landing." Laura's hands trembled, her face buried in them. Her prejudice, a guillotine that had severed her control, her silence, a confession. The economy, cabin buzzed, passengers whispering, the retiree muttering, "They're fixing it," his sympathy, a quiet nod. The young woman filming Lila's video, hitting 8 million views, comments a global roar. "Ellison's a legend." James revealed a bombshell, his voice low as he leaned toward Alicia, his phone displaying internal reports. "Laura's not alone," he said, his charcoal suit a quiet storm. Training logs show no bias, education, company policy skips it for senior staff. That's systemic. Alicia's eyes widened, her navy blazer, a shield, her voice sharp. They let this happen, she whispered, her hand on Zoe's. James's nod was resolute, his strategist's mind a weapon. They ignored it, he said, typing a demand to the board. Investigate training gaps, report to regulators. The economy passengers stirred, a teenager whispering, "He's somebody," his phone filming Lila's video, hitting 9 million views. A sky's bias, a global firestorm. Comments demanding reform. Fix the system. The captain's voice returned tense but steady. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing administrative adjustments. Your safety and comfort remain our priority." The cabin murmured, passengers sensing the shift, the woman in the cashmere coat whispering, "He's shaking them up." Her husband filming the man in 3A, muttering, "Good. He should." Nora approached James again. Her navy uniform, a quiet alliance, her voice urgent. "Chief, the CEO's on the line, wants your input before landing," she said, her tablet buzzing. James's faint smile was steely, his warm eyes steady. "Tell him I'm ready." He set his phone open. His demands: a guillotine-full audit, bias, training, public apology, or face a shareholder vote. Alicia's gaze was fierce, her voice soft. "You're rewriting the rules," she whispered. Her hand on Zoe's, James's nod was resolute, his strategist's mind unyielding. For Zoe, he said, his charcoal suit, a quiet storm, his silent strike, a legacy that would reshape Atlantic skies and inspire a world watching in awe. Flight 473 had landed at JFK International Airport, but the Grand Sapphire Hotel's lobby with its marble columns and crystal chandeliers had transformed from a sanctuary of luxury into a global stage for Marcus Caldwell's defiance. Days ago, Marcus, the 50-year-old black hotel manager, had banned President Trump's fundraiser for his education reform initiative, citing a new no political events policy to avoid protest-related chaos, a stand that sparked a fiery clash and a national debate on free speech versus private rights. Lila Nguyen's viral video capturing Trump's thundering, "You're making a huge mistake," Marcus had soared to 15 million views with hashtags, hashtag Sapphire Stand, Shaw, No Politics, and hashtag Marcus V's, dominating global discourse, turning the Grand Sapphire into a beacon of integrity. Marcus stood in a Chicago community center, his navy suit traded for a casual jacket, his graying temples glinting as he mentored hospitality students, his warm brown eyes reflecting a legacy forged in resolve. Lila, the 28-year-old concierge, now a policy advocate, led a workshop nearby, her navy blazer, a quiet badge of activism, her phone buzzing with updates. Nora Ellis, the 40-year-old hotel accountant, spearheaded industry reforms, her navy dress a symbol of progress, her ledger a weapon against corruption. Mr. and Mrs. Carver, the elitist donors, had vanished, their pearl necklace and pinstripe suit humbled their earlier allegiance to Trump, a lesson learned. The lobby was no longer just a hotel entrance. It was a monument to Marcus's truth, and his stand was setting a standard that would reshape hospitality policy and principle. For a world watching in awe, the fallout from Marcus's defiance was transformative, its impact reverberating far beyond Washington, D.C. Lila's video, now at 20 million views, had ignited a global movement, comments flooding in. Marcus is a legend in private rights over politics. Major news outlets ran in-depth analyses. Hotel managers stand redefines venue rights, and Sapphire's defiance, a blueprint for business. While influencers amplified the clip, turning hashtag no politics into a rallying cry for neutral spaces, hoteliers worldwide shared stories of political event disruptions, trashed lobbies, stranded guests echoing Marcus's rationale, their voices a chorus inspired by the Grand Sapphire. The SEC probe, triggered by Nora's evidence of a $3 million Trump donor scheme to sway D.C. hotels, led to 6 indictments, including the Carvers, their wealth no shield against federal charges. Social media hailed Marcus's victory posts, trending, "He stopped the machine, and Sapphire sets the standard." Inside the Grand Sapphire, Marcus's policy became a cornerstone. Its no political events rule, adopted by 200 hotels nationwide, their lobbies shielded from protest chaos, their guests prioritized over politics. The Caldwell Integrity Initiative, a $5 million program launched to fund hospitality training and venue neutrality advocacy, its suggestion box modeled on Marcus's vision, overflowing with ideas. More diverse managers and guest safety protocols. At a hotel staff rally, Marcus addressed hundreds, his jacket, A quiet rebellion, his voice resonant. We stood for principle, he said, his graying temples glinting under stage lights. This hotel isn't a stage for power. It's a haven for all. Keep standing. The crowd roared, Nora at his side, her navy dress a symbol of reform, her leadership in exposing the donor scheme, a cornerstone of the hotel's rebirth. Lila, now a policy coordinator, clapped her navy blazer, a badge of pride, her role in the video. A career-defining act, Nora's reforms revolutionized the hotel's operations, replacing shady deals with transparent contracts, prioritizing guest safety and banning political funding, a model for the industry. At a hospitality conference, she stood before executives, her voice steady. Marcus Caldwell showed us that principle isn't optional, she said. Her ledger opened to new safety metrics. The Grand Sapphire leads by example. Neutrality, integrity, guest first. Attendees nodded their tablets, flashing with policy drafts. Maya Kim's Washington Post article From Lobby to Legacy, Caldwell's stand going viral, sparking industry-wide reforms. Hotels adopted Marcus's standards with 40% of U.S. chains pledging neutral policies. Their lobbies a haven, their managers citing his stand as a blueprint. Lila's video hit 25 million views, comments praising Nora. She's a hero too, and hotels are safe again. The Carvers faced a brutal reckoning, convicted of conspiracy. They received 2-year sentences, their trial exposing 12 unreported donor deals, their elitist influence a trending disgrace. Online memes of Mr. Carver's smirk circulated, his pinstripe suit, a symbol of greed. Mrs. Carver's pearl necklace, a footnote in shame. In a surprising twist, a donor, Pinnacle Ventures, contacted the Caldwell Initiative, offering to fund ethical hospitality programs, seeking redemption. Marcus met their CEO, his gaze piercing but open. Actions speak louder than money. He said, his wisdom a guide. Pinnacle's pivot to transparent funding earned cautious respect, their transformation, a quiet echo of Marcus's influence, though their past coercion lingered as a cautionary tale. The Hargroves, now humble, donated $200,000 $1,000 to the initiative. Their apology sincere. We failed to see Caldwell's vision, Mrs. Hargrove said, her pearl necklace dimmed by remorse. Mr. Hargrove added, we're with him, his tailored suit, a humbled shell, their wealth redirected to hospitality, education. Lila's advocacy soared, her Street Truth blog, partnering with Maya to amplify neutral venue stories. Her video, a touchstone for change, now at 30 million views, comments a global call. Marcus changed the game and no politics, just peace. The Smithsonian requested Lila's video for a business ethics exhibit. Its caption, principle stands firm. Social media celebrated posts trending Sapphire's the blueprint and Caldwell's legacy lives. Marcus's legacy was profound. He mentored hospitality students at a Chicago community center, meeting Elena Harper, the chef from Another Story whose ethical stand aligned with his own, their shared resilience. A bond. His Southside office buzzed with calls, hoteliers, activists, a congressional aide inviting him to a policy summit. He accepted, speaking plainly. I wasn't just a manager, you refused to see my principle. Neutrality isn't silence, it's strength. The room stood, their applause heavy, his words a clarion call. The initiative's mentorship program trained 1,000 aspiring managers, its graduates leading neutral hotels, their policies a tribute to Marcus's ethos. Lila, now a national advocate, inspired venue, reforms her blog, a platform for the voiceless. At a Chicago youth center, Marcus spoke to teens, his jacket, a quiet inspiration. Your stand is your power, he said, his voice echoing his lobby clash. A girl inspired designed a hotel logo with neutrality etched in marble. Her artwork displayed at a local museum, captioned Strength in Stand. The Grand Sapphire thrived its bookings, soaring its lobby a haven for all its staff, united by Nora's reforms. Their navy blazers, symbols of service, not submission. Pinnacle's ethical funds supported the initiative, linking Marcus's legacy to Elena's, their shared vision, a testament to principled power. The Carvers, last heard in obscurity, were a footnote. Their agreed, a cautionary tale. Marcus's legacy wasn't in the headlines or the Sapphire, but in the managers he trained, the systems he transformed, and the truth that outstood power. The initiative's suggestion box overflowed, one note reading, more leaders like Mr. Caldwell. Marcus, no longer just a manager, walked D.C. streets, his sneakers soft on the pavement, his smile a quiet victory. His policy became industry standard, with 60% of U.S. hotels adopting neutrality. Their lobbies safe, their guests first. Maya's PBS documentary Marcus's Stand rivaled Lila's video, now at 35 million views. Comments a global roar. He set the bar, the grand sapphire. Once a stage for Trump's demands, was now a crucible for Marcus's vision. Its lobby, a legacy that soared higher than any fundraiser. A testament to the manager who turned a ban into a beacon for change. Have you ever stood your ground against pressure? Share your story in the comments, and let's inspire each other. Hit that subscribe button for more epic tales that'll change how you see the world. This is Storytime, and we're just getting started.